as soon as we go live, Corey joined. Acting crazy.
Yeah. I don't know what that is.
We are just here talking. That's crazy.
Leave it off until I talk.
Yeah, I ain't know what was going on. I was like,
Anyway, what's up, guys?
Yeah.
Oh man, we got I was just talking about the NCAA bracket. Craig's a little perturbed this year, but he's gonna watch. I love the tournament because it's kind of like it's kind of like basketball, one of the purest forms of basketball, man, because you have kids that not because like I know everybody wants to go to the NBA, but it's very difficult, right? So like 1.1%, same with the NFL. But like the college basketball tournament, man, it's just a tournament and it's anybody's game. It's one of the greatest things that I watch every year. I'm not an avid college basketball player like I used to be. I used to watch all the tournaments, and now I just love the NCAA tournament. I'm always going to participate in it. It's just phenomenal. And I have picked the winner, but I'm going to probably tweak with my bracket like I do every year. It's some good teams in it this year. So I think I might pick somebody outside the box like Alabama or Houston to win. Houston has been pretty good, man. They got an injury to a major player, but we got to see that. So that's how much I love the tournament, man. I absolutely love it. I can't wait tomorrow. I will be tuning in, watching the games, and I'm gonna love it. Mo, did you pick a winner yet? And why do you like the tournament?
So I love the tournament. We've seen these upsets every year. These 12 5s, the 13 4s, you know what I'm saying? We see it. 14 3s, we see it. So I did do a bracket on another site. I meant to, the bracket I did randomly, I think it copied and pasted on ours, and I was trying to do a different one.
Oh, it's okay.
I don't know what I did wrong, but I
think I did unlimited, so you can do as many as you want.
But I picked Texas. So I did pick a national champion. And it was kind of
Texas got a good team.
Yeah, it was sentimental, and I watched the tournaments. I watched the conference tournaments, so I kind of been sitting and watching them. Like, I feel like, hey, this team just got to make it. It's just something, they've gone on that kind of run, and I feel like they're deep, they're motivated. They've overcome adversity with their coach getting fired. You know what I'm saying, and they just bonded together. So, yeah,
Texas is good. I got them in one of my brackets. How far do I have them going?
Craig, don't hate me, but I did pick Duke in my Final Four. I didn't pick them to win national, but they're young, they're hungry. I think they might.
I got them losing to Marquette.
Yeah, that's the back and forth. If I do another bracket, I'm gonna pick that. But I kind of picked them just because they're getting hot at the right time and they're young. And once you get that young and you don't care type of mood, you could be scary.
This is gonna be a good one. I got Houston beating Texas. Yeah, this is gonna be good. I can't wait. I don't know, Craig. I just be messing around, man. Craig's probably changing, picking crazy people. Look at his face, Craig.
I'm
gotta get me. Come on, man. Alabama or Houston are not bad picks, Craig.
No. No.
Oh, you're talking about the Texas. I got Marquette beating Duke, though. I think
they're up there. Marquette. Not Marquette. Alabama, UCLA, Kansas.
So why do you like the tournament? Because we know North Carolina's not in it after a good run. They had a really good run last year, man, which is so crazy. Why you like the tournament? And hold on, did you pick a winner yet?
Yeah, I usually fill out like 20 of them. So I'm gonna go probably tomorrow. The tournament starts at 12. I'm gonna try to fill out a bunch of them tomorrow. when I'm at work before I got to do a couple inspections tomorrow. So I try to get it done before 10. But I love the tournament, man. I've said this years ago. Like, I think the NCAA tournament, the basketball tournament, is the best tournament in sports to me.
Yeah.
I already love basketball, and I love college basketball more than I love the NBA. It's just, it just seems like it's just not about, at least it wasn't before. It wasn't about money. It's not about sponsorships and things like that, and players sitting out or whatever it is. It's just kids just wanting to play basketball.
Yeah,
and getting coached by really good coaches to play basketball, and it's up in the air where anybody can pretty much win. I mean, obviously you have teams that are better or have more talent and should win over other teams, but it's always going to be some upsets. Like I know we saw a few years ago, 16 beating 1.
Yeah,
team UMBC beating Virginia, another team that people consider local or whatever, but you know, and you always get, you know, the 12 beats a 5 pretty much every year. So I mean, I think they're like 42% of the time a 12 beats a 5, so something like that, 3%. So I mean, like last year you had Carolina making it as I think they were 8 seed. They made it to the final championship game. You had the team that they played in the Elite Eight. I can't remember the name. St. Peter's or something like that, I believe.
Yeah, it was St. Peter's.
They went to the Elite Eight last year, and they beat a lot of good teams. They beat Kentucky for one team.
Yep.
So it's just always some really good upsets. It's always some good matchups. You get to see teams that you don't normally see playing each other, and I just love basketball in general. So I'm looking forward to even though my team is not in it, and I don't really have any interest, like rooting interest in the tournament, I still like to see good basketball. I do have teams I'm rooting against, obviously, like Duke and Virginia and Maryland. I can't see those. So I'm hard rooting against those teams. Hopefully they'll get knocked out early so that way I can feel better about myself. I'm pretty sure some of those teams might go deep. But, you know, it's just – and then this year to me seems to be wide open, maybe because I haven't really been paying attention.
Seems wide open.
But some teams out there like Houston's the #1 seed, Marquette's a 2 seed. Like usually it's like the big name schools, Duke, Carolina, Kentucky, Kansas, the teams that you're more familiar with being the #1 seeds and #2 seeds. But this year, you know, I think it's open. And ACC is down, so they've been down for a while. So I think the highest seed there is like a 5.
Yeah, I think so.
Or maybe a 4. Maybe it's Virginia at a 4. I can't remember if they're a 4.
Virginia is a 4. Yep, Virginia is a 4. That's probably the highest.
Yeah, because Duke is a 5. I think Miami's a 5. So Pitt just played last night. So and I think it's another team, NC State, I believe. So
yeah, NC State. Yep, NC State's an 11 seed.
Yeah, they got 5 teams in there. So I'm looking forward to the tournament in general, and I hope I know it's going to be good. You know, you just love to see buzzer beaters and close games towards the end and stuff like that. Comebacks, yeah. It's like upsets, obviously. So I know we're gonna get some of that. I'm just looking forward to seeing a good basketball tournament this year.
Yeah. Hey, Corey, I know that. So I just tell me if you picked a winner yet, and why do you like the tournament?
I filled out a bracket for work. I went ahead and picked Purdue because you know they got to win one at some point, right?
Okay, all right.
A homer pick, I know, but it's fun because you know I'm one of those people. I don't follow college basketball at all, but it's full of chaos. You always have 1 or 2 really good, interesting stories, and it's entertaining. So it's really easy for people that don't follow it to just jump in and watch what's going on because there is nothing but basketball going on for a couple of days with the tournament. And that's why everybody enjoys it.
Yeah, man. Love that. Purdue's a good pick. Corey, listen, we're in the same boat. And then Mo and Craig are in the same boat. They're watching it constantly during the season, having conversations, right? And we're like, what's going on? But I love that. I love the tournament, man. I agree with Craig. I think it's one of the purest forms of basketball, man. It's, you know, it's not. I love the NBA. I do. NBA's at a high level, but you know, if a guy is sitting in this tournament, he's really hurt. Like, there's no low management. It's just straight up, let's see if we can win a tournament or get to the Final Four to be a part of history. Like that, I love it. Because this sometimes, you know, we got to be honest, some kids' dreams stop here, you know? And that's just the reality. Not everybody goes to the NBA. I know we look at it as fans like, oh, that person's going to the NBA, but it's really difficult.
Majority
you know?
they go to the NBA.
Yeah, it's hard, man. It's a hard road. That and the NFL. Those would be percentages, very small percentage. You know, even though the NFL has 7 drafts, but it's a lot of guys that, you know, are playing in the XFL or playing in the USFL that are good, man. You know? So anyway, speaking of the NFL, and the Panthers trade the number 1 pick. Huge, Craig. Huge. We were just talking about that. I didn't know you were going to trade for the number 1 pick, but y'all gave up the 9th, a second-round pick, a first-round pick in 2024, a second-round pick in 2025, and a DJ Moore, which that was, which is crazy. Let me ask you this. What do you think of this deal for the Bears? You're right. And who do you think the Panthers will draft with the number 1 overall pick, Craig? I know you got inside information, man.
Let me just say that I did like the trade at first, but the more I thought about it that night, because you know what? I saw when y'all posted it. But and then Corey, somebody had wrote, I think Mo had wrote, do you think the Bears are going to take a wide receiver? And then Corey had wrote back,
DJ Moore,
they got DJ Moore and they got Chase Claypool. And I was like, what are you talking? No, they don't. I thought Corey had mistyped. And type Chase Claypool and whatever. I don't know. So I was like, what? And then I had to look at the trade. I had to go find it and look it up. And that's when I saw that they did indeed trade DJ Moore. And I was like, okay. And then the more I thought about it like that night and then the next day, the more I got pissed off because they are trading away they already traded away their best player like 5 months ago.
Yeah.
McCaffrey. Now they're trading away their next best, or pretty much their best player now, especially on offense, in DJ Moore. And then you're going to leave your new quarterback who's coming in without a wide receiver, a number 1 wide receiver. The receivers that are free agents aren't, I guess the best one from what I've seen is Juju Smith-Schuster. He's already off now.
Yeah.
Myers, he was off a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
You got Odell Beckham and Michael Thomas, who are both hurt. And I heard the Saints are trying to keep Michael Thomas.
Yeah, they already re-signed him to a deal.
Okay, so see that? No idea when Odell Beckham's going to go, but he's always hurt. And then it was like Alan Lazard. He just got signed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got 3 to 5 right there gone, and then 4 to 5 gone, and then you got Odell who's always hurt. So I say that to say this. I say the Bears made a great deal because they got a wide receiver that can help out Justin Fields, which they definitely needed. I mean, they already had the wide receivers. They had Mooney and Claypool. They're decent. They're probably like number 2s at best. I think DJ Moore is going to be a number 1. DJ Moore has had 3 1,000-yard seasons in 5 years, and
he's a number 1 receiver
last year. And he's good. Had terrible, I would say mediocre quarterback play. Last year he had 3 quarterbacks throwing him the ball. It was horrible. I mean, the team and I don't know how he did it or how they were able to make it work, but I mean they were able to make it work. I wish they were able to keep DJ Moore and try to figure out another way to get rid of somebody else on the team. I don't know. I guess clearly nobody was worth what he could be worth for that number 1 pick. And for the Bears, it makes sense. It just makes so now Justin Fields has at least 2 weapons on the outside. I mean, I guess you can count Mooney, and then you have the tight end. Can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Cole Kmet. He was good last year. They got a good rapport.
Yeah, I mean, and they just lost their running back, but I mean, they still have Herbert, I believe, or Caleb Herbert, or Caleb.
They could draft another running back.
Khalil Herbert.
Yeah. So they could draft him. This is a deep running back for drafts.
I think, and they got some with the free agents that they got on defense. I mean, I'm not saying this team is going to be the Jaguars from last year, but I think they're like a year away, maybe, possibly.
Yeah.
I think they can probably make some noise, probably pull off some upsets this year. But I think they did a great job with the trade. For the Panthers, I'll say this: are we doing the draft live?
Yes, sir.
I'll say
You
this.
know it. You know we doing it live.
I'm going to take because it might be a short. It might be a short one for me. If I'm serious. If they move up and they take Justin, if they take Anthony Richardson, I'm going. I'm bailing out.
That's wild. This is wild. They're wild if they pick him.
No. I've seen reports that Frank Wright likes him. I've seen reports that the team
That's crazy
likes him. I've seen a bunch of stuff that it's possible that he might go number one. Hopefully, it's all the smoke and mirror thing or whatever it is. Because if they take him, I can't support it.
That is wild if they pick him.
Trade up to take him, I'm good. Now I'm not going to root against him. I hope he succeeds. I hope he has great success. I hope he plays well wherever he goes. But if you trade up for him for number one overall pick, I can't support it. Now I'm reading that they're thinking about taking Stroud. Frank Wright likes taller quarterbacks. I think the shortest quarterback he's had has been 6'4". So Stroud is 6'3". So he would be the shortest at that point. I think what I've been hearing again, Tepper likes Young. So I don't know. I don't know
if it's between them two. That's
I'm hoping
what I
between them two.
I'm hearing between them two.
That they like Richardson a lot or whatever. They're intrigued by what he can do. I can't get behind it. So I'm hoping that they'll end up taking either. I would love for them to take Bryce Young, but I can understand why, because I think he's the better quarterback. But I can understand the reservations of not wanting to take him, and being that Frank Wright's track record is taking or having taller quarterbacks. I'm pretty sure that's probably what's going to happen. At least I'm hoping that's what's going to happen. I've also been seeing reports that they might trade back just to get more picks. Trade back to number 2.
That's what I heard too.
I mean, I wouldn't be if they're not.
That makes no sense.
If they're not deciding on the quarterback at that point, and they're just still butting heads about it, and it's like you need to do something and you need to figure it out. I'm just saying you might.
I heard that too today.
Trade back with Houston or something like that, possibly. I don't know, man. But if you're not convinced that one of these guys, it's just weird to me. It seems like if you traded up to number 1, you should know who you're going to pick at that point. Or at least have understanding of where you want to go. But I did see reports that they were thinking that say, well, they might trade back to get more picks and recoup what they lost with the Bears trade. I don't know, man, but I would love Bryce Young, but I think it's going to be CJ Stroud.
Oh, Miles Sanders to the
That's what I'm talking about, man. Come on, man.
Wow.
Miles Panthers.
Wow.
Yep, he's there.
Good move.
That's a nice running back. That's a good move
right there.
Hey, look, man, you know what? He had a great season last year, and I really wanted Deontay Foreman back. Clearly, I think he's I think if they can use Miles Sanders in the right way, I think they could be successful.
Yeah, which Frank Wright.
I think Frank Reich is a good coach for Sanders to be paired with.
Yeah,
absolutely.
He's gonna run that thing.
I still think they need a wide receiver.
I think Sanders can do a lot of the Naheem Hines role from a few years back.
Yeah,
he can catch out of the backfield.
Yeah, I think Sanders could easily hit 50, 60 receptions next year.
Yeah. But Corey, let me ask you, what's your thoughts on the Bears trade, and who do you think the Colts, not the Colts, who do you think the Panthers get in number 1?
I think it's CJ Stroud. I saw the same report that Craig did, that there's split, Reich wanting Stroud, the owner wanting Young.
The owner might win.
I think it's a little surprising that you move up to 1 without kind of having that decision made. I feel like that's probably just smokescreen for whatever reason. There's no reason. You have the number 1 pick. You don't need to misdirect people anymore.
No, say what you want.
The whole the Panthers could consider trading down is about as dumb as Chicago saying they're considering trading Justin Fields and taking a quarterback. Nobody believes it. Don't throw it out there. Like, it makes no sense.
Ridiculous.
The deal makes sense for Chicago. with the asterisk that apparently they had a focus on wanting to get as much draft capital as possible, so that if they felt they needed to go get a quarterback next year, they had the ammo to do it. But if you're that not sold on your quarterback, then use the number one pick on one. I don't understand that logic. But it's Justin Fields. Chicago went out, got a couple of linemen. He now has people to throw to. His situation is significantly improved today already versus what it was, week one last year. And if the goal for Chicago was to get a hole like this, the only option was going to 7 or going to 9. You were not getting this out of Houston or Indianapolis. Like the Colts weren't going to give up 4, 34, a 1 next year and a 2 the year after, plus Michael Pittman to go 3 spots. It wasn't happening.
Yeah.
So Chicago got the best deal they could. They're giving up on the top defensive prospects, and I can't blame them. The Panthers, the owner has been adamant about trying to get a quarterback for a few years now, and so it makes all the sense in the world for them to go up as well. So it seems like everyone's happy in that exchange. Although we'll see what Carolina does, but I have to imagine it's CJ Stroud.
Yeah. All right, Mo, what are your thoughts on the Bears trade? And who do you think the Panthers pick at number 1?
I like it. I like it for the Bears. I mean, you move down, you get assets, you get a number 1 receiver to add to Claypool and Mooney. Now, I mean, they lost Montgomery, so they gotta get a running back in there. But I like it. I truly like it. Now with that number 9 pick, it's very interesting because the dude from Georgia already was going to slide down, but I heard he went to his pro day today and was sucking wind, like didn't even get to the through the position drills.
Yeah, he was out.
So that's gonna be interesting. Like I heard
he was out of shape.
He was cramping and breathing heavily, and didn't even finish position drills. He didn't run 40 or nothing. So that's gonna be interesting to see where. But what could be in play is the DN from Texas Tech if he falls that far. I don't know if he's gonna fall that far because I heard he's picking up steam, especially now with Carter doing what he just did. The dude could really probably be the second defensive player taken. And it wouldn't be surprising. So let's see where it goes from there. And I can see Chicago, if Chicago doesn't like what's there at 9, they can trade back. They might say, let me get a corner, or let me get another defensive player we like, but let's trade back and get more picks if we don't want to overspend or over draft for somebody at 9 if we don't have to. For Carolina, I like it. Like Craig said, it nervouses me, and I hope they wouldn't do this, but I hope they wouldn't use, because they signed Andy Dalton. I hope they would use Dalton as a bridge and draft Richardson. I pray that's not what they're doing. Because if that's their play, oh my God, like that's just, I'm like, why? Like, why? Why would you do that? Like, you had to truly, this kid had to truly blow you away for you to use Andy Dalton as a bridge and you to draft Richardson. It makes no sense. Like, it wouldn't even add up to me. Nobody could really explain that to me, how that would make sense, especially with the division being up for grabs right now. Like, you truly say you don't want to win, because I don't care about, let me say this, no disrespect to Derek Carr, but Derek Carr makes him the favorite right now in the division, but that division is still up for grabs. So for you to sit there and draft Richardson would almost be like, you don't trust this team can win right now. And you basically saying, we're going to wait. You don't do that. Like, if you sit there, you got a chance to draft CJ Stroud or Alabama's quarterback, Bryce Young, you do it. You don't sit there and draft Richardson on some, let's see what the future holds type of move and think you're going to win with Andy Dalton. Ain't going to happen, Captain. That ain't going to happen. No, I'm sorry. You might, you might put some points on the board here and there, but you ain't win nothing. So it's mind-boggling. But it scares me that I think that's a possibility. We have to hold that out as a possibility. I think Craig could probably speak to the owners, personality and the GM personality more than we can. But from an outside in looking, I'm like, I wouldn't be shocked if they draft Richardson and have Andy Dalton as a bridge. Because look at it, he's a better bridge. He's a better bridge than what Donald is, or PJ Walker. I mean, he much better, but so it's. I truly think it's Stroud. I think they're gonna draft CJ Stroud, but I don't think we should dismiss it of them getting Richardson and using Dalton as a bridge.
Yeah. So number one, the Bears. Hey, listen, Ryan Poles has done really good. He cleared up the cap. The cap was a mess. He cleared it up. Right? They have cap space. They've made trades. They have depth. They're supporting Justin Fields. At this point, if the Bears don't go to the playoffs or make the next step, right? Like, say, if they finish 9-8, I'll be like, okay, you know what I'm saying? It's the leap next year, because then that will go from, they have 2 wins this year? That improves it. So at that point, you got Justin Fields is the guy. If they only win 5 games, that's going to be a decision. They're going to have to look at game film on Justin Fields, but there's nobody can say that Chicago's not supporting Justin Fields. So let's hope that they've been supporting him. He has weapons, and let's see what Justin Fields can do. I think he was going to be a good quarterback, but now it's no excuses, because teams are betting on that window where it's like, okay, rookies, the quarterback's on a rookie contract. Let's see if we can go to the Super Bowl, right? And build around them. So I get it. And I get it from the Panthers. I get it. This is what Craig wanted. He didn't want, I don't believe they're going to sign Anthony Richardson. I think that's smoke. I don't understand why. But I was listening to Albert Breer on the Rich Eisen show. He said that it's between Stroud and Young. So it's between those two. Probably from what everybody's saying, Frank Reich likes CJ Stroud. Me and Craig talked about them last week. And then you got Bryce Young. I don't think you can go wrong with either or. I think those are the 2 best quarterbacks in their class. I think the other quarterbacks, like Levis, is going to need time. Richardson's going to need time. Right? So, this is good that the Panthers did it and jumped out there. DJ Moore's, wish they would have kept him so they can at least have some weapons around it. But we gotta see what they're going to draft. But I know their expectations can't be too high because they don't have anything that surround the quarterback. You got to surround your quarterback. You got to have pieces around your quarterback today's NFL. So hopefully, they'll have the cap space and they'll make free agent signings and moves to support Stroud or Young, whoever they draft. That's what I think they are. I don't think they're going to draft Richardson. I think Andy's there as a good backup. I think he's a good backup. So, it's good for the Panthers, man. If you're going to go get a quarterback, and this is hit or miss. So, this is up to Frank Wright. If he gets Young, Young might be able to hide some of the deficiencies. The same with Stroud. But any other quarterback they get with the first pick, like if they get Richardson or Will Levis, people are gonna lose their jobs. Because there's you don't trade up for Anthony Richardson. You're gonna just probably stay where you're at.
That's what I'm saying. I think you could probably him or maybe you would have to trade up for like 5 or something like that. Because I think he's gonna go high now. I don't know how he's. Well, I do know it's the combine, which is weird to me because once again I just can't put the combine above film or like what they did so spectacular that made him jump so high that you didn't see on film. Did he do something? I can't figure it out. So like his stock has went up since the combine.
Crazy.
So it's good for him. I hope he does well. I'm rooting for him. Like I'm rooting for all the players in the NFL or all the players coming up in the draft. But
yeah, I think he might go to a spot, but I'll say that for later. I think he'll go to a spot that would be perfect for him, where he would learn. Hey, let me ask Corey this. Corey.
Yes, sir.
The Panthers pick a quarterback. We know they're picking a quarterback.
Yep.
I think Houston's picking a quarterback. They were in the Jimmy Garoppolo sweepstakes, so I'm assuming. Where does that leave the Colts? Where would you like them to draft? Because we know most likely go through your top 5 picks, and then at number 4, say, you're Chris Ballard. You're in a room with Chris Ballard. Say like who you want the Colts to draft and why.
Okay, so I'll say I think the Colts have three avenues. 2 of them involving Lamar Jackson.
You're the second person I heard bring his name up.
He's available. He's available to be negotiated with, and
y'all
is
would
it a guarantee that Baltimore matches?
Y'all get Lamar. Y'all would automatically win the division if y'all Lamar.
Agreed.
With that running game, oh my goodness, I would feel comfortable finally picking y'all this year to win the division, Corey. If y'all landed Lamar.
Seeing what Shane Steichen was able to do with Jalen Hurts in that Philly offense, having Lamar and Jonathan Taylor doing that instead of Hurts and Miles Sanders, that would be fun. I think the Colts could work to clear enough space to structure a contract in a manner that would make it extremely difficult for Baltimore to match. Because that would be the key. If you're signing Lamar to an offer sheet, it has to be so front-loaded that the Ravens could not match it.
Yeah.
So that would be one option. Send the 4th pick to Baltimore. You sign up to the offer sheet. Or you could gamble. You could take a Will Anderson at 4 and sign Lamar to an offer sheet after the draft and then pray that the Ravens don't match it, because then you're really screwed when it comes to quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I don't think they go that route because that is one hell of a gamble. So I think Stroud goes 1.
Okay.
I think that puts Bryce Young at 2. All talk seems to be that the Texans really like Bryce Young. Again, could be smoke screens, but the talk feels a little too consistent to be wrong.
Okay.
And the big gamble is 3. Like, what are the Cardinals going to do? I don't know. The GM basically said that the number 3 pick is for sale. I feel like there's a good chance they trade back.
I agree with that.
But I'm going to say if they stay in place, they're taking Anderson. They're taking the pass rusher, from Bama. That's the first defensive player, first non-quarterback off the board. I think Indianapolis would go Richardson. I think
okay.
I think the skill set is, Steichen has coached everything from Phillip Rivers to Jalen Hurts. So I think he's very adaptable.
Yeah.
To Craig's point, I think the reason that Richardson's stock went up after the combine is that he didn't just test well. He tested unprecedented for a quarterback that has ever gone into the NFL.
Dang.
So I think that still says something. It wasn't just like he wasn't just fast. It was the fastest 40, the biggest high jump. It wasn't just that he tested well. He was breaking records everywhere. He's got a very strong arm, and he's got the athleticism to be able to break the big play, which is a big deal in today's NFL. He can do something off script, which is not something the Colts have had in quite some time. Well, since Luck.
Yeah.
Andrew Luck can do it.
Yeah.
He's got a strong enough arm to make every throw. I think if you work on Richardson's mechanics some, you can get more consistency out of his accuracy. And you can scheme up with his athleticism to make reads easier. And having Jonathan Taylor behind him, I think would do that. Having two decent receivers in Pittman and Pierce, I think would help do that. We'll see if the Colts bring back Paris Campbell still. Can touch on that a bit, but I think Richardson makes sense at 4 for Indianapolis. And if you're Indy, I don't see Ballard trading up even to 3. I don't see him giving up draft capital to go get a guy. Now, if somebody goes up to 3 and takes Richardson ahead of them, I don't know. I don't know that they are that sold on Will Levis to take him at 4.
I was about to ask you about that. So you're the Colts. Richardson is there. You're taking him over Will Levis. Why?
Much higher ceiling. And there's a Colts writer that I follow that does a lot of game film and stuff, and he started to look at these quarterbacks and just inconsistency issues with Levis. I know he was at Kentucky playing in the SEC with a lot less talent his last year than he had the year before.
That happens.
I just think the off-script plays that Anthony Richardson can provide that Will Levis can't would be the reason to take him, because in today's NFL, having a quarterback be able to break out of the pocket and take off for 60 yards is like Levis has the functional mobility. He can get around, but he's not going to outrun anybody. Richardson can break a game open.
Yeah, we actually last week we talked about it. I think we both had the same sentiment. I just don't know about Will Levis. He has this tendency to make a lot of mistakes. He's gonna have to sit. And we know that, like, okay, we love Josh Allen, right? Josh Allen and Dayball. Dayball does not like mistakes. But you see what happened when Dayball's not there. Josh Allen made a lot of mistakes. But also, Josh Allen is bigger than Will Levis. I think he's, he put in his work. That's Will Levis' ceiling if he can get there, but he has a lot of consistencies with his mechanic
and another
issues.
knock on
a lot
Levis
of mechanic
that I've seen
issues.
Is his processing. Like sometimes
Slow
he tends
times.
to stick on his first read too long and getting on to his next reads.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things that every quarterback is going to have that issue a little bit. Every quarterback's going to have to work on that at the NFL level. But Richardson, while working through that, can at least make plays still with his legs.
Yeah, and I think he has better ball placement than Levis. And also, Levis is uncomfortable working with short zones, which I think if you get in the red zone, that might lead to turnovers too much in the NFL. I think Levis has to go someplace where he has to sit for a couple of years, to be honest. That's just me. I think Richardson will learn on the fly. I just think Will Levis, I'm not saying Will Levis won't be a good quarterback, but environment matters for everybody. But I think if he goes to if Will Levis goes to Seattle and sits with Geno for 3 years, I think he can be able to correct those issues and be a professional like Geno, because they signed Geno like a 3-year deal. If he goes and sits for 3 years, I think he'll be, a good quarterback. But starting off the break, I don't know.
Yeah, and whoever the Colts take, that's your day one starter.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's still a chance that they bring in a Marcus Mariota or someone like that just to be the veteran backup. But the number 4 pick, if the Colts take a quarterback in this draft, which barring going and getting Lamar Jackson, they're going to, that guy is starting day one.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's who I think, right, goes number 1 through 5. I think I agree with you. Corey, I think it goes I think it's probably going to go C.J. Stroud number 1, Craig, not Richardson. Don't have to worry about that. I think Frank Wright is a quarterback. He likes C.J. Stroud is the purest passer. He's the most comfortable in the pocket. He can throw. He can make every throw on the field. Of course, Bryce Young can too, but he has a better feel for the pocket than any other quarterback. Like C.J. Stroud is like a traditional pocket passer, like from the 80s. If you draw it up, that's what I'm hearing massively. I think Carolina goes get C.J. Stroud, which I think he's going to be really good with Frank Wright. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I think that's a great pick for y'all. Or Bryce Young. I think those two, you're going to have your quarterback for 10 plus years, right? Since Cam, I think so. 2, same thing. I think Houston takes either C.J. Stroud or Young, and I think that's going to be good for them, especially from a defensive side of head coach. 3, I think Arizona goes defense. I think they just hired the Philly defensive coordinator. Rushing the passer, listen, defense isn't big nowadays, but rushing the passer is, because it's a passing league. You need somebody to rush the passer. Boom. 4, I kind of agree with Corey. If the Colts, I think they have to go quarterback and probably get Richardson. I don't see Will Levis being there, right? Or what they could do is they're probably not going to trade Arizona. They could trade down and maybe get Hendon Hooker. That's maybe the only other thing I could see. Hendon Hooker got some good draft grades.
So I would say
a Ballard move.
If you're going that route, that is an option. You could, if the top pass rusher in this draft is on the board at 4, say somebody trades ahead of you for Richardson. Take the rusher, take the elite defensive prospect, and then start making phone calls about from 34, how far you can get up that board to go get Hendon Hooker.
Yeah, I like Hendon Hooker too. I like him, man.
Yeah, he is a 25-year-old rookie coming in.
He is 25.
I'm not that worried about that.
Yeah.
But I like Hooker as well. Just how ready he will be for camp coming off the knee would be the only hesitation, but you're not drafting him for 1 year. You're drafting him for 10.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the knock on him was progression, but that's every quarterback. Like, it's hard to, NFL, you got to go through reads. But, struggle to throw on the move, that's hard for quarterbacks to do. As well, but that's a route I think the Colts could go. And then 5, I wouldn't be surprised if Seattle gets Levis, and Pete Carroll came out and said that, and we don't draft this high. So if a quarterback falls, that they like, they might draft Will Levis. Or they probably gonna get a top prospect on defense. But that's what I think. But I definitely think the Colts might. They're in a different, the Panthers do something in the mix when they did that. So, Craig, who do you think are going to be your first top 5 picks? Who do you want? We know it's not Richardson.
I mean, obviously, who I want will be probably Young, but I think,
okay. I can see that. I can see even that a Stroud.
I think they'll go Stroud just because of the height issue. So I think that'll be because I mean, not saying either one is bad or whatever. I think they're both really good quarterbacks or could be really good quarterbacks. It just depends on what the owner and what the coach like.
Yeah.
At that point in time when they get to that. I mean, I know when they made the trade, a lot of people I don't know who said it, but somebody in the Panthers office said we have 48 days to figure out who we're going to take a quarterback. And now that could have been smokescreen. That could have been, they just got 48 days to figure it out, or they really don't know who they're going to take.
That's crazy.
Either or, I think they'll end up taking Stroud 1. I think Young goes 2. Texas need a quarterback. I can't see them not taking a quarterback at that point.
If y'all get Bryce Young, because the owner has power. If y'all get Bryce Young, then they're gonna get Stroud.
I think they're going either order. but I think it's probably. I know the odds for Stroud went up for the betting odds for him went up to be the number 1 overall pick. So that's kind of seems like the way that they're going. So, unless something happens with Houston, I think they're going to take a quarterback. So
yeah,
that leaves the Cardinals at 3, and I think though if they stay there, I think they'll take a defensive player. Will Anderson probably, he's the best defensive player in the draft. I do think that there's possibility that they could trade out of it. I wouldn't be surprised because I know, like Corey said, and I've been hearing since like Monday or sometime last week. Yeah, Monday that the third pick is up for grabs. So
yeah,
anytime you can go back and get more draft capital, especially when you know.
I wonder who would trade up.
I think that's what I'm saying. I think the Vikings. I think the Raiders could trade up. I know they just signed Jimmy Garoppolo, but it wasn't for a lot of money.
It wasn't. It was not.
And I think that they could groom whoever is going to be the next quarterback. And you know, that's another thing. I think they could groom him. So if it was going to be Levis, it was going to be Richardson. I think they could groom him and get him ready for the time when Garoppolo steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Another thing is Garoppolo's prone to getting hurt.
Yeah.
So I would not. I just wouldn't put it past Garoppolo to go out there and get hurt again, and then you eventually going to start the rookie. So at least I think if he does end up there, whoever's going to be, which I think it will be Richardson, then I think that he would get some experience because Garoppolo is just not going to play 17 games.
Nah.
And even if they stay at, I think they're at 7. Even if they stay at 7 and get a defensive player or get whoever, they're going to need another.
Raiders are at 7.
They're going to need another quarterback. I don't know who else is on that roster. I think it's Stidham still.
No, he left.
Okay, well,
yeah, he got signed.
They're going to need somebody else on that roster to maybe a Mariota or somebody like that. I'm not sure to be a backup for Jimmy Garoppolo because it's only a matter of time. But I'm just going to sit there and say that maybe say they don't trade him. Then I think 3 is Anderson. 4 is going to be Richardson. I've been seeing a lot of mock drafts with Richardson going to the Colts.
Yeah.
And I think the Colts can do a lot of things with him. I think he's a really good running quarterback. I think he's worthy of being. He's not worthy of being a 1 or 2 pick to me, but I think the 3rd quarterback overall taken.
I agree with that.
And I think he can work wonders in that offense, especially how they use Hurts.
Yeah.
So in Philly, so I think he's kind of comparable. He's been getting compared to Cam a lot, but he's faster than Cam. Maybe not. He's not as big as Cam, and he has an arm. Like he's very talented. It's just he's just an inaccurate quarterback at this point in his career. So I think he needs to figure that out, which I think he will. Whenever he gets to where he's going to go, it may not be this year, but with reps and time playing quarterback, it'll be fine.
Yeah,
5 is going to be weird because you're looking at Will Levis, and is this the point? If he's not going right now, is this the point where he drops all the way to who knows, Commanders maybe? I don't think so, but I mean, it's possible. Maybe he gets snagged at 7 with the Raiders. Maybe he gets snagged at 8 with the Falcons. Both of those teams need quarterbacks, but with
I don't know. The Falcons said no. They're riding with Desmond Ritter.
Okay,
which to me is.
I'm not.
Nothing. No, they're gonna basically they're gonna be a high
next year's draft.
That's what they're doing.
Okay, that's what they want to do.
That's what they're doing.
They're gonna be up there with the.
They're going for Drake May or Caleb. Yeah, you know what they're doing.
All right, okay. So,
they're taking. Come on, guys. Desmond Ritter. Come on, man.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
So I mean,
come on, man.
I can see Carter going 5. I know Mo just had the report on him, but I mean, what's the kid from Texas Tech? Tyree something?
Yeah, I forgot his last name.
I think he could go 5. I think he's starting to climb up the board.
Yeah.
I know Seattle needs defense, so I think.
Yeah, Tyree Wilson. He got to go
Wilson.
to Detroit at 6. I'm looking at 1.
I can see him going at 5. I can see him jumping up past that and going at 5 because I think Seattle needs. Both teams need defense. Seattle and Detroit.
Yep.
So I wouldn't be surprised.
I can see Seattle getting Carter. Pete Carroll likes that, man. He'll get Jalen Carter right. Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if 4 quarterbacks do go, because I think if the Raiders or whoever jumps up to 3 and gets a quarterback, and then I think obviously the Colts take Levis, and then Will Anderson goes 5. But I'm going 3 quarterbacks in the top 5 right now until I can.
Yeah.
When is the draft? At the end of April or
April 27th?
Yeah,
April 27th.
We got like a month or some change. Okay.
We got a month. Hey, you're right. If it goes to how you said it right, if you go Young Stroud or Stroud Young, Will Anderson, the Colts get Anthony Richardson, I think Will Levis could take a drop. He could drop.
I mean, if
people wait.
Tampa might.
If the Raiders don't take him, I don't know. If the Raiders don't take him, I don't know. He could drop.
Because the Commanders, then we're not taking a quarterback.
I quit.
We're in the we might be in the Caleb Williams.
No. If we do that, if we draft Will Levis, listen, if we draft Will Levis right there, I might quit. I might quit as a fan.
Nah, man, we ain't gonna draft Will Levis.
Maybe Seattle could take him too. I think you said Seattle could take a quarterback.
Seattle could.
At 5? I mean, at 5.
That's what Pete Carroll's saying, but they'll probably go defense.
I wouldn't be surprised just because
He said they'll never pick that high.
I mean,
they'll never pick high. That's what he said.
I mean,
after that, there's nobody.
Yes,
maybe he's gonna drop tremendously.
Tennessee, maybe.
They're
at 11.
No, maybe.
Tennessee's blown it up. So
the Jets are about to get a quarterback.
I mean, had they released? Oh Lord! But had they released Tannehill yet?
Nah, I don't think they're going to.
Corey,
what'd you say, Corey?
Willis at this point.
It looks like there's a chance that Tennessee does blow it up, especially if they do pull the trigger on trading Derrick Henry. Then at that point, you might as well cut Tannehill and just
and draft Will Levis because he could take a drop though. Because if he doesn't go to Seattle, I mean Tampa could get him. I don't think the Raiders going to draft him. I mean the Raiders might. They might.
I think the Raiders would take Levis if he's there at 7.
Yeah, they might.
Because reportedly the Raiders called about going up to 1.
Yeah, I can see Mark Davis making a splash. I could see that. But yeah, I think. I could. Yeah.
The Raiders draft weird anyway. With that pick from Alabama, that offensive lineman a couple years ago,
Gruden is not there anymore. I don't know what's going to happen.
And then they let him go last year.
Yep, they let him go. They let Waller. They just traded him.
Yeah.
You know, I guess I get it.
They did get a wide receiver. What's the dude's name? Jacoby Myers, right?
They got Jacoby Myers.
And they got Hunter Renfrow, and
they still got a nice offense.
The defense has been horrible. So I mean, and they got Jacobs. Jacobs had a great year last year.
Mm-hmm. All right, let me. I'm gonna start off with you, Mo. Free agency, man. What are your What are the teams that you think did really well, and the teams that did really bad? And what surprised you?
I mean, I don't want to say really bad. Let me say some teams that improved. Let's say really bad. I say Philly's lost to some losses. We know how that is though. Once you reach that mountaintop, or once you get close to it, a lot of people say, "Let me go chase my bag." We've seen this numerous of times. But I would say Bears. I would say some winners. The Bears, the Giants. And getting Waller, that was big to me. I will say Atlanta, they've improved. They brought some pieces in. I really like what they're doing. And I know it sounds crazy, but San Francisco. And I'm gonna give 2 reasons why. They brought in Hargrove to a defense that's already crazy. Then you bring in a Farrell from the Raiders, who's a hungry young dude who didn't even make it past rookie contract, who's going to be hungry. No expectations on you. Just go play ball. Just go play ball. Forget about being a number 4 pick. Just go play ball. Around a stout defense, he's not going to be. Nobody's going to think about him. So when he get on the field, he's gonna get nothing but one-on-ones. Ain't nobody gonna think about him. So now it's like, go play ball. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what you can do. So I think San Fran has done a good job. I mean, they Donald, that's just a camp arm to, hold you serve until everybody gets back. I mean, you had to do what you had to do. You knew Garoppolo was out the door. We knew that was going to happen. But I like the Bears. At most right now, I like the Bears, and I like what Atlanta has done.
All right. So actually, I'm not going to lie. This free agency was really good. I swear the past couple of years, the trades have gone up, or maybe it hasn't, but I believe in the past couple of years, and we're going to see some draft trades that's going to blow our minds. I think that, because listen, Craig, I'm going to be honest. The combine isn't for college players. It's for teams to tamper with each other. It's the real reason they're going to stop the combine. That's where all the deals are made. That's where all the coaches, the GMs go and they talk. They talk about players. They talk about trades. That's what happens. That's what happens at the combine. They're never going to get rid of it because it's kind of it's basically when the tampering period starts. Like the Packers are talking to the Jets. That's been done. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Since the combine. That's what I hear in NFL circles, right? So I think that teams. The crazy thing is, every year we go through this, teams that need a quarterback, the Colts know they're going to get a quarterback. They're probably going to get a quarterback. The Panthers need a quarterback. They're probably going to get a quarterback. But some of these teams that need a quarterback aren't trading for Lamar, what we heard yet. And we just mentioned it. I think like Atlanta, what are you guys doing? You're tanking. Like, listen, you're going in the season with Desmond Ridder. I like Desmond Ridder too. I just don't think there's enough around him to succeed. I don't. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe Atlanta will make the playoff. Maybe. But we'll see. We'll see on that. It's not like, listen, we were wrong about Seattle, but they got Pete Carroll, Arthur Smith. We'll see, Baker Mayfield to Tampa was a little surprising. I think because I don't know what Tampa's doing. I don't know if they're in the quarterback race. I don't know if Baker Mayfield is the starter. Is he a bridge quarterback? I don't know. I don't know. So the Raiders signed Jimmy Garoppolo. I kind of felt that was coming, right? It's Jimmy G. He's familiar with the system. They could still draft a quarterback. And the deal that he signed is team friendly. I think it's like $25 a year. That's what he wanted. I mean, at this point in his career, he knows he's like, I'm just here. I'm gonna play football as long as I can because I love it, but I'm gonna get paid. Right? I do like how the Broncos beefed up their O-line, man. They have one of the richest owners in the NFL, and they spent it in free agency. And I like it. It's like Sean Payton got in there. Russ, you don't got your own office, and we're beefing up the offensive line around you. And I like that. And we're going to sign some defensive players. I like that, man. As we all know, NFL is one in the trenches, and having a good offensive line is a really good first step. And two things. One, the Eagles, we knew this was going to happen. The Eagles cutting all their players. This happens when you go to the Super Bowl, whether you win it or lose it. It's a big accomplishment. Cutting Darius Slay was a little surprising to me, and signing Bradbury, I guess maybe Slay didn't want to restructure his deal. I think Darius Slay is a little bit better than Bradbury. I might be wrong, but I think I'm going to try to restructure Slay and let Bradbury walk, but I guess they did the opposite. But, Howie Roseman knows what he's doing. And Philly is losing players, but they got a lot of draft capital. They got 2 first-round picks, so they're gonna recoup some of that. I think they'll be back. They already got their core back. They got Graham, Kelsey, and Fletcher Cox. So I don't think they're gonna too much of a drop off. Not in the weak NFC. Not when you have Jalen Hurts there. They'll be right back in the mix. And I'm gonna let Craig take it after this. But it's very interesting to me that the Dolphins and the 49ers are setting themselves up. And I keep hearing this over and over again. Like, I think Tom Brady's retired and done. I do. I don't think he's coming back. But they're saying that the Dolphins and 49ers are reaching out because their rosters are. After the Jalen Ramsey trade, I was like, man, their roster. Miami is looking to make a run. They're a quarterback away. San Francisco, I know they signed Darnold. They're quarterback away. I heard they really like Brock Purdy. Shanahan really likes him, so they're waiting for him to get healthy. That's the word I have, that they might trade Trey Lance, which, it sucks because I really like him, but he just can't stay healthy or play football, but they really like Purdy. So, but it's just funny that they might be, setting up a run. All right, Craig, free agency, man. Your thoughts? Because we're going to go to our teams next, so don't answer about how your team did. But just what team surprised you? What teams you think could have did better?
Well, I think the Eagles surprised me with, like you said, Darius Slay getting released. I like Bradbury. I think he's a really good corner. I do think Slay is a better corner, so that kind of surprised me, the fact that he got released today. Like you said, it could have been they couldn't work out a deal. I know they asked him to look for a trade prior to him getting released.
Yeah,
he couldn't find something comparable between him and his what's his name, Drew Rosenhaus. They couldn't find anything, so I don't know. I thought that was kind of surprising. I knew they were going to release some players just because looking at who was free agent coming up this year after this season, there was a lot of names on that list that were a lot of really good players that were free agents. So it was only a matter of time. I thought the Bears did a really good job trading for the number 1 pick and getting a wide receiver in DJ Moore, number 1 wide receiver in DJ Moore. They lost David Montgomery, but still they got some good pieces, especially on defense, which is what they needed coming in this season. Last year they let pretty much their best 2 defensive players go. So then they got I like Edmonds, and I definitely like TJ Edwards. TJ Edwards is a beast. So I thought that, and they kind of got him on the cheap.
They did.
Edmonds
might fit his Matt Eberflus system more than Rokon.
Yeah, and for the money that they had to only give up, I think looking at it now, 3 years, $19.5 million for TJ Edwards. So that's kind of crazy. The Falcons, I thought the Falcons did some pretty good things, even though they haven't settled in on a quarterback yet. It seems like they're kind of confusing me because they're out here making moves, which you have to make moves, but and it seems like they kind of want to tank because they're not trying to go after a quarterback, or they said they're not going after a quarterback. So I don't know what their deal is. I'm kind of confused on them, but I don't know, man. I
don't know what they're doing.
I'm trying to wait and see with the Falcons, man. In terms of making a move just so they can get a player, the Jets, just because I guess they're trying to get Aaron. Obviously they're trying to get Aaron Rodgers. So in order to get Aaron Rodgers, that stupid list that he put out, he had to appease him. I thought it was dumb.
I'm sorry.
You have to appease him. So to appease him, you sign Alan Lazard. I don't know why. And he's got I know we'll get to it later, so I'm not even gonna really go into it. But in terms of the Jets trying to get Aaron Rodgers and what they needed to do to get him, I mean, if that's what you want to do, then go for it, I guess. I thought the Commanders did signing Jacoby Brissett, especially since your starting quarterback, I guess, is Ron Rivera wants to call him, or whatever he wants to call him, day one guy, or bringing guys for competition. I don't know. But I thought Jacoby Brissett he's a really good quarterback, or a really good backup quarterback, and I think he could possibly start a couple games. I don't know. To me, it seems like they weren't trying to.
If he starts a couple games, Craig, we're in the running for Caleb Williams. Okay,
Jacoby Brissett.
Yes, if he starts the season off,
I don't know. I think Jacoby Brissett's good. I think he's decent.
I love him, but is it going to translate to
he's
win?
better than. I think he can probably be better than what's his name? Sam Howell, just because I think he has veteran experience. And I think the Commanders have talent around him. I just don't understand. You're going into the season and you're automatically putting Sam Howell as your starting quarterback or number one quarterback or whatever it is, but then you go out and you bring in Jacoby. To me, it seems like you want to have a quarterback competition. Now, if you go out and you get Case Keenum, then I'm like, okay, I think it's all up for Sam Howell. But if you go out and get Jacoby Brissett, I think it seems like it's going to be a quarterback competition that I wouldn't be surprised if Brissett won. I haven't seen Howell. I mean, Howell's only.
You would like that. You would like that. Yeah, Lord. I'll be gloomy. I will be gloomy on here.
Looking forward to what's going to happen in next season. I thought. I hate to say it, but I liked what the Cowboys did, especially releasing Zeke. Just because
they did good.
I think he's just done. I think he needs to go somewhere where he's not going to be the starter. Keeping Pollard, franchise tagging Pollard, I thought was really good. Trading for another cornerback opposite of Diggs because what's his name, Donovan, I think. He was getting cooked. Whoever the other cornerback was getting cooked last year, and that's pretty much all you had to do.
They got Gilmore.
So now you got Gilmore on the other side. Granted, he's getting older, but
he's still quality.
He's still a quality. I was about to say he's still a quality cornerback. Somebody that you got to respect on the other side. I think didn't the Dolphins get a corner?
Yeah, they got Jalen Ramsey.
That's no damn bugging. Yeah, I thought that was really good. It seems like they're going all in, and as long as Tua is healthy, that's a question mark because his concussions seem like our concussion history, I guess, since he's had like two of them last year or two or three of them. So now you have to figure that in. But I mean, the offense looks good. They got two corners who are really good. I mean, It seems like the team's going in the right direction. It seems like it's a tough AFC, but it seems like the team wants to win, obviously, now. And I think they're saying that this is it. We're going all in. Now, when Aaron Rodgers comes over, the AFC East the difficulty just went up. So, I mean, you got to figure the Patriots, even though they're not the Patriots,
still tough.
They're still going to be a tough out half the time. So, I mean, I love what the Dolphins did there. And you know what? No, I'm not even going to say it. I'm not even going to do it because I don't. I really don't.
What?
I would say Giants, but I really don't. I don't. I like.
Okay. Oh yeah.
I like him coming over, and I like Waller. He's a solid tight end. And they need weapons, but it really, as much as that kind of brought it up, what brings it down is definitely the Daniel Jones.
Yep.
So it just drops it for me, and I'm just not a fan of that Daniel Jones. I said it last week. I
don't like him. I don't think they should have signed him.
That's kind of where I'm at with it.
All right, Corey, what? So we'll talk about your team next, but what was the most surprising? What's the best? What's the worst moves that teams did in free agency and trades?
I had three teams that I put in the best category. As you touched on, James, Denver. I think the Broncos did a really good job retooling that offensive line. The Sean Payton has a certain build in mind for the line, so it's really good to get that retooled.
Big offensive lineman,
and then Yeah, it's Craig touched on Dallas. I thought in just a couple of simple moves of getting rid of Zeke, keeping Pollard, meaning he's going to get all of the touches like he should have been in the first place. And the Stephon Gilmore trade, I think, is really good because yes, he's 32 years old, but he had a phenomenal year in Indianapolis. Single-handedly closed out multiple games for them. So I really like that addition. And then I would say the other one are the Giants. Making the splash trade. We'll see if the Darren Waller move works out. It is a big splash. It's a gamble, but I think it's a good move to go all in on something like that. I haven't seen a lot of talk about it, but the Bobby Okereke signing was, I think, a really underrated defensive signing. He kind of got overshadowed in Indianapolis a little bit.
You liked him. You talked about him a lot.
I think he was very solid. But it's just one of those things that the money wasn't going to work in Indy. You had Leonard under a big deal. You re-signed Franklin last year. They did end up re-signing EJ Speed. So it was just the options there were kind of limited. But I think he's going to thrive in New York. So I those three teams stood out to me as making some really good moves. A couple of surprises. I think the Chiefs just bailing on Orlando Brown and signing Jawan Taylor as a potential prospective signing.
That's a good one. I didn't see that. It's actually a good point.
And then I think the disparity between the two contracts that David Long got out of Miami and Trey Edmonds got out of Chicago was really surprising because those, I feel like, are two linebackers that aren't there isn't a huge difference between. The pay that they got was very different. So that kind of jumped out to me as well. But as for losers of free agency, I got to say, this has been a weird free agency in that there really hasn't been any of the Christian Kirk type signings. One of those that jumps off the page and it's just
that's a good point.
What on earth are they doing? Any of the deals that I've seen have been okay, that makes sense. I can see that. I just nothing that jumps off the page as just confusing or baffling, whether it be the fit with the player or the money given. Yeah. So I can't really point to anybody as necessarily being a loser. Philly's lost some guys, but again, coming off of a Super Bowl appearance, that's going to happen. That's just going to, the downside of success.
Yep. That happens. You go to the Super Bowl, whether you win or lose, you're going to lose free agents. You're going to trade guys. This just happens.
Yeah, the Darius Slay thing, I wonder, because it seemed like the report came out that Philly was considering bringing Matt Patricia onto their coaching staff.
Oh.
And it seemed like that's when Slay was like, hey, I want out, because Slay did not get along with Patricia.
No, he doesn't. No, he did not.
So I'm wondering if interactions around that soured things soured in that relationship, and Slay wanted out.
So they were going to bring Matt Patricia as a D coordinator or a consultant?
I think it was linebacker coach.
That, was being discussed. Yeah, Darius Slay does not get along with him at all.
No.
He's made it known too.
And so I'm guessing
that
there's probably a good chance that when Slay went to the organization, it was like, hey, I'm not playing with that guy. So yeah.
That makes sense.
Something went down that caused that split.
That makes sense. I didn't know that. That would make sense because he's made it known multiple times on multiple platforms. He does not like Matt Patricia.
Yeah. Patricia was a terrible head coach.
He was a terrible head coach. Yeah. I like you said, some people come from New England, and it's like this the Belichick way, and it's like Bill Belichick can say that because not only did he have Super Bowls, he's earned it. He coached Lawrence Taylor, okay? So, he says Lawrence Taylor is one of the smartest football people he knows. He coached Lawrence Taylor. Like, during Lawrence Taylor is staying up at the club and sleeping in meetings, and Belichick's like, why don't you teach it? And Lawrence Taylor gets up and draws a whole game plan for the defense. And is like, I'm going back to sleep. And he just looked at him and was like, Bill Parcells, I don't know what you want me to tell you. It's Lawrence Taylor. Like, you know what I'm saying?
So a checkmate move.
Yeah. So like he listen, Belichick can, he has enough pull to coach the way he wants because he's, arguably one of the greatest coaches ever or the greatest coach ever. So, he can be no nonsense and talk crazy to you because he has a lot of a lot of hardware for that. You know what I'm saying? He can be like, listen, I coached Lawrence Taylor, Carl Banks, I coached the Giants. You know what I'm saying? Like he could just go down and so anyway, Corey, I'm gonna stick with you on this one. Give me your team's grade in free agency and why.
All right, so little recap. The Colts have re-signed Tyquan Lewis, EJ Speed, Ashton Doolin. They have added Matt Gay, Samson Ebukam, and Tavon Bryan.
Okay.
And then they have lost Stephon Gilmore, Matt Ryan, Brandon Faison, Bobby Okereke.
Okay.
Overall, a solid B plus. Maybe even honestly verging on an A. Like they were more aggressive than normal. I do personally, I think it's really funny because Colts Twitter has been a place where there's a lot of just do something people because Chris Ballard's approach to free agency is I'm not going to spend bad money.
No, he doesn't.
And so they have waited until wave 2 and wave 3 to spend their money.
Yeah.
So then Chris Ballard goes into wave 1 and his first signing is a kicker.
Yeah.
But it's a good signing. Gay has one of the strongest legs in the NFL. He is like 94% accuracy last year, something crazy like that. One of the better kickers. He was actually on the Colts practice squad back in 2020 and got poached. But ever since Adam Vinatieri's last year, when his accuracy fell off a cliff, kicking has been a problem for the Colts. It has cost them multiple games each season. So I am perfectly fine with the team spending $1 or $2 million extra on a good kicker so that they don't have to worry about that again.
Yeah.
And Samson Ebukam, he is essentially pass rush. He's going to take Yannick Ngakwe's starting spot.
Oh wow! Okay.
So it was something like 60 fewer snaps than Ngakwe and had 6 more pressures.
Oh, okay.
So he's an effective pass rusher, but he's a lot better against the run than Ngakwe was.
Okay.
And he's only like 26, 27. So and
then you got Petty on the other side, right?
Yeah, Kwity Paye will be on the other side. They added Taven Bryan for some defensive support.
Is that the same Tavon that's from Jacksonville?
Yep. Yeah. Former first round pick by the Jaguars.
Yep.
I'm glad to see him bring back Tyquan Lewis. He's just had just atrocious luck when it comes to knee injuries. And I think EJ Speed is fantastic. He's your special teams captain, and I think he's a serviceable linebacker. I think he's a solid linebacker that if something happens and Darius Leonard isn't ready to go day one for the season, I'm okay with trotting Franklin and Speed out there as my 2 linebackers in the middle of that defense. The only thing I will say is there's a few more things I want to see. I would like to see them bring back Paris Campbell.
Okay.
I think he's earned a second contract. I think paying him, in the $10 million range for the next 3 years is a solid contract, especially when you are going to be drafting a quarterback.
Damn, yeah, that would be two big outside receivers and Paris Campbell. That's nice. Yeah.
You moved. I think the Gilmore trade was more for him. Just 32 said he was really good for them last year, but you clear 10 million in cap space and you send him to a contender because he's only got a couple of seasons left in the NFL. So kudos to the front office for being willing to do that. Cutting Matt Ryan saved you, was it 12 million or 17 million?
I think it's 17.
Something like that.
I knew that was going to happen.
Those two moves cleared about 24 million. I still would like to see them either cut or trade Ryan Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
He has not lived up to that contract as the highest paid center in the NFL at the time for 2 years now.
Oh, wow.
And I think you can start Danny Pinter in the middle and get just as much production.
Do you think y'all should release him, Ryan Kelly?
If they can't trade him, release him.
Wow. Okay.
And at his salary and at 30, I don't know who trades for him, but if you can even get like a 6th round pick for him, do it.
Yeah.
And then I would like to see them get a backup tackle, a swing tackle to have just in case.
Yeah.
And then the rest of your issues, you can go heavy cornerback and get another receiver in the draft.
Yeah, because that's I think this is a good cornerback draft, a good running back draft, a good tight end draft too. So,
I think they're set at tight end. There's a chance that Mo Alley Cox gets traded or cut. I think they're pretty set at tight end between Woods, Granson, and Ogletree, who was arguably the best tight end in camp until he tore his ACL.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, he looked really good for them. So I think having that trio back this year, they'll be fine at tight end. They're loaded at safety. I think they're set at linebacker. They just need some corners, and you always need wide receivers.
Yeah, always. All right, Mo, you're a Commanders fan. I need you to give the Commanders a grade and why.
I'm gonna say B-. And I think in the past we've been the type that will jump to making big splash moves. And I think slow and steady is won the race with this one. We brought in linemen, one from the Giants, one from Kansas City. I like both of them. One of them can play center and guard. The other one's played tackle, has played at a high level and started before. Then, then you bring in a Jacoby Brissett, who's been a solid player, solid starter, a solid backup for years. He's not going to play a full season, but he's somebody, if Sam Howell wasn't going to work this year, we can bring him in to relieve him. We can bring him in. He can win some games. He can keep the ship rolling. Did well and, held the ship best he could. He held the ship in Cleveland for what he could do until Deshaun Watson got there, and he's a character guy. He's a locker room guy. He's not going to cause no ruckus in your locker room. He's not going to cause no beef. A locker room guy. I think we need that. I didn't like losing Holcomb. A 4-year starter, probably, and I think I said this to a buddy of mine. I said in the last 5 years, in the last 5 to 6 years, he's been the most steady linebacker we've had, and it's not even close. And and for you to just let him go and just feel like you're replacing him. I know we brought in a linebacker from Seattle, Barton.
Yes, we did.
So let's see where that goes. Davis got to step up. I think out of this administration, I think that's the most disappointing part to me, because you got a defensive coordinator and you got a defensive-minded head coach and a defensive coordinator who played linebacker position. This dude is not approved at all. Like we can't point to the improvements of this guy. And he drafted in the first round, and what he about to go in year 3. So it's like where we got to see the improvements in the investment. Moving forward, I want to see what we're going to do with Gibson. Moving forward, I want to see what we're going to do with. I don't think we brought back Logan Thomas. I think he's a free agent. I don't know.
I don't think we brought him back. I don't think they are. I think they like Rodgers from last year.
Yeah, so I'm really looking at, what's our commitment tight end wise. I'm looking at what's moving forward. What's the move tight end wise? What's the move forward? Corner wise, I think we got to wait to see the production on the field because we brought in a dude off waivers from the Vikings. He was I think a 2020 draft pick or 2022 draft pick. I forgot his name is not popping up.
Cameron Dantzler.
Yeah, so let's see where that goes. I heard we put a tender out there for Reeves. I heard we did put a tender out there for Reeves, so let's see how that goes. Other than that, I'm still offensively. I'm not really. I just want to see what goes on with Gibson. Defensively wise, everything with us defensively now is a draft and wait and see type of thing. Let's see now what goes on with let's see what goes on with Chase Young and Sweat. That's going. We ain't gonna be able to keep both of them, so it's going to be a decision to make. Because you gave your money to Payne, gave your money to Allen. Let's see where you're going to go from here. I don't think we're going to be able to pay all 4 of them at that kind of level. Somebody got to go. You got to pick one or the other. It's just going to be a hard first thing.
If Matt Howell goes to the playoffs, Matt Howell goes to the playoffs, you can.
Yeah, so it's going to be, let's see.
You can. That's that rookie. That's that rookie contract.
Yeah. Transferring over to the draft, I think we're gonna go corner. That's just my honest opinion now. I feel like it's gonna be at least 2 of them there for at least 2 of them there for the picking, or I hope it is. I'm
Joey
hoping
Porter.
Yeah, Joey Porter Jr. And I think I don't know if the dude from Illinois and the dude from Gonzalez from Oregon, I don't think both of them go. I think one's gonna slide. I think so. We're gonna have a choice of either one. But I wouldn't be surprised if one could be left. But I don't see all 3 being off the board. So I see us having. I see us being able to pick one of them. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
I see us having a pick of one of them. I think my camera or something's going wrong. Backtrack right quick. Off pace. But the top 5. I see CJ Stroud going 1 to Carolina. I see if I'm Houston, I run up with the card to get Bryce Young, number 2.
Yep.
I see Arizona, number 3, Will Anderson.
Yep.
I would see Coates at 4 going with Richardson.
Okay.
And then I would see 5, Seattle. I would see them getting the kid out of Texas Tech. I think either Texas Tech either him or Carter. I can see Pete Carroll saying, I can deal with the knuckleheads. I can get to them. I can reach with them. He's done it before. He's done it too many times. Even with DK Metcalf, he's done it. He's gotten the knuckleheads.
Players love him
kind of help him. So I can see
the players love him, man. They love him, yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But listen, Pete Carroll loves projects, and players love Pete Carroll. They love him, yeah. All right, Craig, let me ask you this. Because we, back-to-back Commanders is a lot. What Carolina Panthers, man? What's your grade of free agency? And why?
So far, as far as the moves that they've made, they just signed Miles Sanders. So they needed a running back. So that was good because Deontay Foreman is a free agent. So Miles Sanders with Chuba Hubbard in the backfield, I think that's pretty good. They signed Andy Dalton, who, at this point clearly is a backup, and his job is probably to mentor who's going to come in to be the number 1 overall pick, whoever that's going to be. He's going to be just a mentor. I'm sure He might start a couple games, especially if the young guy gets hurt, whoever that's going to be, or whatever it is. So in the event that does happen, then you have a veteran quarterback in Andy Dalton who's been there before, who's been through all the ups and downs and been to the playoffs and things like that. So it's led a team like 4 straight years to the playoffs or something like that. So he has that. He's not a flashy backup, so he's just there just to do that job. And he started last year, started a lot of games last year for the Saints. So
he did.
It's not like he's been sitting on the shelf for a little while. He's coming off of that season, so I'm hoping that he can provide some type of knowledge to that quarterback that's going to come in. Bradley Bozeman, they needed to re-sign him because the offensive line is without him. I don't know where it would be right now. They'd be looking for a center after they just let Pat Eflin go. So they needed to reassure, and that was one of their first things that Frank Wright and the organization wanted to do was sign Bradley Bozeman. So that's what they did, and they got him for 3 years. So they assured he was going to be there. The rest of the linemen are pretty decent. They're still young. The left tackle, who I can't never say his name, from NC State last year, he had a year last year. There's a little growing pains, so hopefully he'll be better this year at left tackle. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And now that Bozeman is going to be back, I think that's pretty good. The Shy Tuttle signing, I just don't get it, especially not for that type of money that he got. 3 years, $19 million.
Yeah.
$13 million guaranteed for a rotational guy who's been with the Saints for the last, I don't know how many years. He's a rotational piece. I don't think a rotational piece should be getting paid that much money.
Yeah, he's rotational.
I know they needed defensive lineman help, especially with Matt Ioannidis not being, who knows, he's a free agent. So that's one signing that hopefully they'll be able to figure out. I mean, Matt Ioannidis, he wasn't amazing for the Panthers, but I mean, depth-wise, you can't beat having enough players on the defensive line. So I just didn't understand that signing, especially for the amount of money. Now, if you wanted to sign him for $10 million or something like that, okay, cool. But that seemed like it was too much for me. Hayden Hurst, I thought they needed a really good tight end, or just needed a tight end. They haven't had a good tight end, I don't think, since God, I'm blanking on.
What's your name?
Guy doing Fox.
Yeah, Greg Olson.
Yeah, Greg Olson. Damn,
he was good. He was good. Man. I liked him, man.
He was really good.
Yeah,
for the Panthers anyway. And they haven't had a tight end since him. They've drafted a couple. They re-signed Ian Thomas last year, and Tommy Tremble out of Notre Dame. They drafted him 4 years ago, and none of it's pretty much been the guy. So I'm hoping that Hayden Hurst he had a decent year last year for playing with really like 3 really good wide receivers, and where you pretty much never going to get the ball. He had a decent year, I'm saying more than decent. He had a good year. So now it seems like it's unfortunate because he doesn't have anybody as far as wide receivers. But I mean, Hayden Hurst can be he is a pass catching tight end. So that's what I'm hoping that he can turn out to be. This
was Cincinnati last year, right?
Yeah, Cincinnati.
Yeah, he played good.
A good weapon for that team. Devon Bell signing, I thought that was good. Being that they needed a strong safety, they put out an offer to Sam Franklin. He hasn't responded yet, so hopefully he'll re-sign. But if not, you got Bell on one side. You have Chin back there as well. Now I don't know if they're going to move Chin to linebacker. He can play linebacker, so that'll definitely put linebacker in a better. Do
you think they will?
It depends on who else they get. If Sam Franklin resigns, then I could see it. It just depends on what they're going to do with that other safety spot. If not, then I guess it's just going to be Bell and Chin back there. But I'm not opposed to that, but I think the linebacker core is a little lacking, especially if Corey Littleton doesn't resign. He's a free agent as well. So, I mean, who knows what's going to happen there? So that's what six guys that they signed so far. 5 that they signed, 1 that they re-signed. They also signed their long snapper back in February. So, including the trade that they made, and they lost DJ Moore in the process, I probably would go with B. I do like the Andy Dalton thing to be that consultant guy. I do like the Miles Sanders. He had his best year last year. Hopefully he can have another great year. He's only 25, about to be 26, I believe. So he's still relatively young. Still don't know what the deal was yet because it's not showing up.
Okay.
Specifics of the deal. I like the Bradley Bozeman re-signing.
Yeah.
I like Hayden Hurst coming in, and I like Von Bell. So far, the only player that they lost that's signed with the team so far has been Darnold, who signed with the Niners.
Okay.
Other than that, there's still some guys out there, and I think eventually Pat Eflin, who they let go, is going to sign somewhere possibly. But I think they did an okay job, but they still need to get a wide receiver. Like if I'm definitely need a wide receiver in the draft, the upcoming draft. Edge rusher is another one. And possibly more cornerback depth because Dante Jackson got hurt last year. J.C. Horn got hurt last year late. C.J. Anderson got cooked by Mike Evans 3 times in that Panthers Bucks game, a game which pretty much said, okay, this is the 4-4 division, and he got cooked every time.
Yeah,
they need to figure that out. Get some more cornerback depth. I know Slade's out there. Somebody was saying maybe Slade, I think he's just worth too much. And obviously, the obvious need is definitely quarterback. So, which I address early. So, obviously, to me, the big position that they need to figure out, especially with the best free agents that's gotten signed so far, wide receiver. And other than trading for D-Hop, maybe trying to trade for somebody that's out there, I just don't know where they're going to get one from at this point.
So I was looking at Jeremy Chin. So y'all are going to a 3-4 defense because y'all hired which is going to make Brian Burns excel. So Chin might move to one of those. In a 3-4, you need a Fred Warner type in the middle. You can because he has the ability to cover running backs and tight ends. So Jeremy Chin might move to that maybe. I don't know.
It depends on what they're going to do with Corey Littleton if he resigns, or because right now they don't really have a middle linebacker at this point. So, and it depends on what they're going to do with. I know they have Xavier Woods, so that's another possibility. They could put Xavier Woods. Well, he's a strong safety though. He plays the same position as Bell. So, and Chin plays free safety. So that's another reason why I have no clue what they're going to do, but it's just still up in the air. Hopefully they continue to make some moves and they get some, at least I would hope that their first pick in the second round is a wide receiver, but
they could move him. I mean, Jeremy Chin is 6'3", 220. He's Shaq Thompson is 6 feet 230, so he's a big
I think he played linebackers, or I think he played linebacker in college.
He could move. You still got CJ Henderson. He could move, yo. He could.
He did. They do need depth on that cornerback.
Yeah, he could, yo. He could move right there. He could be the Fred, one of those athletic middle linebackers. He probably fit right in there. That's what I think. You know what I'm saying?
He could. I'm gonna give him a B, maybe. But that's where I'm going with it.
Yeah. For the Commanders, I kind of like Mo. Kind of did everything. I did want Holcomb. They might go after Slay. It depends on the money. But Mo, you gotta understand if Sam Howell plays well enough, we can sign the whole defensive line because Howell will be on a rookie deal. Now, 2 years from now, it's going to come due. If he balls out, it's going to be, everything is in Sam Howell's power if he wants to be a starter in the NFL at this point, because he has two good receivers. They got Eric Bieniemy to open up. He has two good running backs. He has a good O-line. He has a great veteran backup quarterback. So the job, they're saying that it's quarterback competition, but it's really Sam Howell's to lose. It is, in my opinion. And if Sam Howell, I'm going to be honest with you, if Jacoby Brissett starts the season, we're in the running for Caleb Williams. Well, okay? Just you heard it here first. We're in the running for Caleb Williams if Jacoby Brissett starts. It's going to be a long season.
Wouldn't you be in the running regardless, though, of whoever starts?
I mean, at least with Sam Howell, we could see, right? But, we could see. But if Jacoby Brissett starts, that's not good. Sam Howell should be able to beat out Jacoby Brissett. But we'll see. But I like everything else. They beefed the O-line up. Deron Payne, I agree with it. I knew we were going to sign him long-term. He deserves his money. He's been here. I'm a big fan of homegrown players. So I think they get, a B+, A-. I was surprised, usually we're spenders, but this year we've been really kind of coasting, and I like that. Because we still got to make a decision on Chase Young. If Chase Young doesn't ball this year, the questions are going to be like, should we have drafted Herbert? Those are the questions. Should we have drafted Herbert instead of Young? Because we would be in the same position. If we had Herbert, I would be talking a lot of trash at this point, because we would be in a really good position because we would still have the receivers we have now. It would be, we wouldn't have had Carson Wentz. We would have been, we'd have been in a good position. But, we got to see. But I like a lot of their re-signings. I wish Holcomb would come back. Another homegrown guy. I like him. But, unfortunately, I wish Heineke would have came back. But one of my close friends was saying that, if Howell starts losing, people are going to want Heineke and the fans, and I get that, but I really liked him. I think he's a really good teammate and leader in the locker room and knows everybody. But I can see how, if Howell loses 2 games in a row, people are going to start mentioning Heineke. So I gave us a pretty good grade. All right, Craig, we're going to end on this. Aaron Rodgers, he's now going to the Jets. It's official. I believe he's just waiting on the money. He's waiting on the Packers. So, which makes sense because I heard today the Packers can wait till after. Well, the Packers want to wait before the draft to get this deal done. So now that Aaron says he's going to the Jets, they're probably going to extend the talks. Does that make sense? Right now, it's just about money. How much is going to be guaranteed? What's the draft cap compensation going to look like? I don't know if it's this year's first. It might be. I think that depends. It depends where, but because he's going to the Jets, we talked about this last week, but I'm going to hinder it, right? Craig, how long do you think he plays for the Jets? And do you see them winning the division?
You see them winning the division?
Yeah.
I think he could play. I think he could play 2 or 3 more years. Aaron Rodgers is like 39.
Yeah.
38, 39. So
Yes.
I think he could play a couple more years, two minimum. It just depends on how wishy-washy he is and what he does in the offseason. I think if the team obviously there's no backup there that's going to be like that the team has, like the Packers did with Jordan Love, getting Jordan Love, that's going to kind of make him feel some type of way.
Yeah.
But I think the team has to be going in the right direction, which is winning like he was winning in Green Bay, at least in the regular season. So, and I think the Jets have a really solid team, a good foundation that they were building on last year. The defense is really good. They have good young wide receivers, a good young running back. The offensive line could use a little bit of help, but the biggest issue was the quarterback. So I kind of want to see when he gets there, because the AFC is getting. I mean, it's ridiculously tough. It seems like just from the outside looking in,
crazy though.
Compared to the NFC, it's like night and day. And the
AFC is like crazy.
Dolphins and what they've done in the offseason and the offense that they have. The Bills aren't going anywhere. The Bills still look good. They could use a running back, obviously, but everything else is still really good. Patriots are still well coached, and I mean, they're the Patriots. They're still going to be in games. They're going to be right around probably like 8-9 wins again, 7, 8, 9 wins, competitive in certain games. So, and then going to New England is no cakewalk. So, it's going to be tough for them. And looking at and the schedule that they got this year, it's not going to be. I mean, not going to be NFC North type schedule probably.
Nah, they got a tough schedule, bro. I'm about to look at that.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to be much more tougher. So, you know what? And I'm thinking about it. I think it was like in January, Zach Wilson came out and said something to the effect of,
"Oh my gosh, I saw that today.
Whoever veteran quarterback that we sign I'm going to make his life hell in practice or whatever it is." So I want to see what happens now since Aaron Rodgers is on his way there pretty much.
Good luck.
What's going to happen with that? Because I really doubt that's what's going to happen.
No. Not Aaron Rodgers. Not gonna talk to Aaron Rodgers like that.
You know, it is what it is. I mean, he's got a lot of growing up to do for a guy that's not that good and doesn't take accountability or responsibility for what's going on in his performances. But yeah, I think as far as them winning the division, I think it's possible just because the quarterback play. I think they ended the season losing like 6 games in a row. But even still, their defense was like a top 5, top 10 defense. If they can just get consistent quarterback play, and Aaron Rodgers had probably he definitely had his worst year since, I don't know, like 2010 or something like that, maybe 2008 when last time he threw double-digit picks, and he didn't have any receivers. So now that he has receivers, I think he should be able to, and a really good defense. I think he should be able to definitely get this team. I think he's good enough for at least 4 more wins to get him to 10-7 instead of 7-10. So I don't think
see that.
That's not good enough to win the division. I don't think. I'm still going with the Bills until further notice, but I think they'll be. I think they could definitely be a playoff team and be way more competitive with a good quarterback. The issue is that I had with that stupid list that he put out. I know you're the Jets and you want Aaron Rodgers, but the list is just dumb to me. Like Randall Cobb, are you kidding me? Randall Cobb is not. He
says he didn't put it out. That's what he said.
Okay, well, you know what?
That's what I don't know what happened. It got out, so somebody put it on the list out there.
You already have Wilson and Moore, and say you have Davis.
Yeah.
Now you got Lazard. So now you have 4 good wide receivers. I don't know what they're going to do with Davis, but you don't need Cobb. You definitely don't need Mercedes Lewis. How does Mercedes Lewis?
38.
No, he doesn't need to be playing anymore at this point. It's not a type. Like, what do you want him for? Like, I don't understand. You have Conklin. He's not bad.
Conklin was good.
Well, I'm just saying, what do you
was good last year?
Mercedes Lewis for? What is he going to do for you at 30, 38? I just don't get it. I can understand wanting to get Odell Beckham, but he's going to cost a lot, and you don't know what you're going to get from him because he's hurt right now.
He looked good. He did a workout for teams. He did a workout for teams. He looked good. That's what they said.
He's probably still going to cost.
Oh he's going to cost money.
I mean, you don't need him. You don't need him. I think the team is fine the way it is. He just needs to go into camp in the off season, maybe do what Tom Brady did before camp, and then just build that camaraderie, build that rapport with your receivers, build that trust with them. Something that you didn't do the last season in Green Bay, That way you can get on the same page when the season starts with these young wide receivers who were complaining last year about their quarterback play.
Yeah,
it's just common sense stuff to me. I'm hoping that he does well because he is Aaron Rodgers, and I want to see him win at least one more ring. But
yeah,
AFC is going to be tough, man. So I'm going to say no to the division. I am going to say yes to a playoff team, and 3 years max. I'm going to say 3 years max, but I'm leaning towards 2 years just because he's so wishy-washy.
Hey, Corey, let me ask you this about the Jets. How long do you think Aaron Rodgers plays? And do you think they win the division? Before you go, I'm going to tell you their 2023 opponents.
Okay.
Home, they have the Commanders, the Eagles, the Falcons, the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Texans, and then the Bills, Miami, Patriots. Away, they have Dallas, the Giants, the Broncos, the Browns, the Raiders, and then Buffalo, Miami, and Patriots. This is the whole that's that AFC West and NFC East. Oh, that's brutal.
That's a rough combo. I think Rodgers plays 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see him going one and done. I see him going back for a second attempt.
Yeah.
I don't think they win the division. I don't know that they make the playoffs.
Woo!
I think Rodgers has become his own worst enemy at this point. He has gone full tilt diva. I don't know that he will listen to anybody anymore. Like putting on this whole charade of making this big fuss on what he's going to do, claiming he was close to retiring before he went to his retreat or whatever BS stupid crap that was to keep his name in the headlines. He wasn't retiring. As soon as Brady retired, I am fully in the belief that his ego was not going to let him go in the same class as Tom Brady.
Nope. No.
Because he would get overshadowed.
Yeah.
So get out of here with that.
He was not retiring.
Yeah. Look, if Rodgers goes back to like 2015, 2016 Rodgers, where like if he shows up in New York, he starts working with these receivers and he's committed, I think the Jets could be really interesting next year because they do have skilled position talent and a defense.
Yeah.
I question Rodgers doing that though. Like seeing him the last 2 years in Green Bay, I have zero faith that he's going to go and ingratiate himself with that roster. And I really don't know how him and Zach Wilson are going to get along.
Oh, they're not getting along at all.
That quarterback room is going to be spicy.
Yeah.
And I could see his ego getting in the way and causing problems in New York.
Damn. Jeez. Man, I mean, that New York media is different too. It's not the Green Bay media. It's not the Green Bay media, yo. Zach Wilson said
when he struggled in Green
benched.
Bay, nothing. You struggle in New York, everyone's going to be talking about it.
Yeah. Zach Wilson said he was like, it's the defense fault. He didn't take accountability and he got benched. The New York media is crucial. But I'm not going to lie. I read that today, Craig, and I was like, why would you say that? They bring a veteran quarterback. I'm going to give him hell. What? All right.
That's stupid. I'm dumb.
And then Aaron Rodgers is coming.
Especially when you don't know who it's going to be.
And Aaron Rodgers loves that. He's like, oh, yeah.
Who was scared? Who was scared of Zach Wilson? Like, what the hell are you going to bring? What are you going to do? Put it out, man.
I don't know why he said it. I don't know why. I don't know why he said that. Craig. And I saw that today. I was like, oh, you look like look like an idiot, man. Why would you say that? And now Aaron Rodgers is coming.
Hope Aaron Rodgers goes right up to him too. First day.
Oh yeah, Aaron Rodgers is good. You know, he doesn't shy away from that type of stuff. You know, he might. Zach Wilson might hear it. So, anyway, Mo, how Green Bay is trading Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. It's a done deal. Do you see them winning the division? And how long do you see Aaron Rodgers actually playing in New York?
I'm going to say no to the division because I'm going to respect the Bills to say until somebody dethrones them.
Yep.
But it's going to be interesting. I see him playing 2 years.
Okay.
And here's where it gets interesting. Because of the owner's statements, and the fact you're getting getting Aaron Rodgers.
Same person.
Yeah, you had it right.
Same person, same situation, but still. You better win something, or that coach won't be there next year. They're gonna blame it on the coach. It's sad to say it, but let's just keep it real.
If they don't go to the playoffs, I can see.
If they don't go to the playoffs, they're gonna blame it on the coach and they're gonna fire him. If I'm Green Bay, there's no way you're not coming off that 13th pick. If I'm Green Bay, there's no way because this is where I was swinging. If they get Aaron Rodgers to keep that 13th pick and they hit on a home run pick there, I'd be like, oh man, oh wow. You got Aaron Rodgers and you was able to keep that 13th pick, but I just don't see. I hope Green Bay's not that stupid. Yeah, I hope Green Bay's not that stupid to let the Jets keep that pick. Like I would call they bluff. Like, how bad do you want Rodgers? You know what I'm saying? And this is why I would say that if I'm Green Bay, you allow the Jets to fly out to California, beat him while he's still under contract with you. He's creating lists. He's going on podcasts. He's basically carrying it as if he's not a Green Bay Packer on the contract still.
They don't want him anyway.
Agent. Like you almost
they like him though.
So, but
that's what they wanted, Mo. They do not. They were fed up with him.
I get it, but the way you would carry it now is you got to get a first round pick out of this. You can't come out of this just saying, "Oh, we'll give up compensatory picks and stuff like that." Like, come on, you got to come out of this with some picks and something to help this young kid love. Like, you got to come out of this with something to say, "Hey, okay," because Aaron Rodgers not washed up goods. It ain't like he a bum on the street. So I don't think it's far-fetched to say, give us that 13th pick.
Nah, like, I don't think it is.
So I'm interested to see what is the draft compensation here for giving up for Rodgers. I see them going to playoffs because I like Robert Saleh as a coach. If they get Rodgers and with some of the moves they've been making and some people get healthy.
I mean, I think they're going to get a number one pick because Russ went for number one and Stafford, I think.
Right. They went to
multiple picks. They went to multiple picks, yo. They got multiple picks.
Now the AFC they got better, especially up on the defensive side of the ball. So they want to improve that offensive line. They can't keep that offensive line like it is and think you just going just because Aaron Rodgers that's going to improve everything. No, that don't work. That ain't gonna work. So I'm definitely going to see. I definitely want to see where they go from there. But I like, I think they're going to make the playoffs. But I'll still go with Buffalo until you prove me otherwise.
So, okay, I think Aaron Rodgers plays 2 years. I agree with that. I think he plays 2 years. I agree with you, Mo. The offensive line is horrendous. But if we do look in the past, if Russell Wilson goes for, that draft compensation, Matthew Stafford, there'll probably be multiple picks are in the equation. Maybe the first and then maybe a second conditional or a third to a second. I don't know what they're drawing up the plans now. So I do agree that the Jets need to fix the offensive line. And here's the messed up thing that Rodgers has done. Because he's waited this long, he's hampered the Jets in free agency. He's hampered them. They could have signed offensive linemen, but they're waiting on Rodgers. So they're not going to fix their offensive line, and that is going to be horrendous. And it's not going to be good when you're in we just went over their schedule, man. So you're already going to play the Chargers, who got a good defensive front. Buffalo has a good defensive front. Von Miller is going to be back. Miami has a good defensive front. The Chiefs have a good defensive front. So it's going to be actually. I'm here for it. I want to see where they go. So I don't think they win the division. I do think the Jets almost beat the Bills last year. I think they get a win against the Bills in Miami. I think I agree with Craig. 10-7, excuse me, but this is going to be a crazy year because every year in the NFL, we have teams that went to the playoffs and then the next year they don't go. So the teams that went to the playoffs, Buffalo, Miami, Cincinnati, Baltimore, Jacksonville, Kansas City, and the Chargers. So one of those aren't going to go. Kansas City's probably going to be there. Cincinnati's probably going to be there. Buffalo's probably going to be there. AFC South is going to be up in the air. You could say Jacksonville, maybe, but it just depends on the moves. Baltimore, we don't know what's happening with Lamar. That division's tough. I don't think it's a guarantee. It's not like, unfortunately, this is the honest truth. The AFC is able to draft quarterbacks in the top 10, and they're really good. And that's the thing in the AFC. All the teams that have really good quarterbacks are winning, right? And you got to think Denver might be pushing for a playoff spot next year. Houston's going to be better. Indianapolis is going to be better. Jacksonville's probably going to be better. I think they do go to the playoffs just because of their defense, but it's not going to be easy because if the Jets were in the NFC, I'd be like, okay, 13-3. They probably win the division, but the problem is they're in the AFC, which is quarterback heavy. It is difficult. Let's say Lamar says, I'm signing my franchise tag and I'm going to ball out. And the Ravens end up winning 2 playoff games. The AFC is really tough. But Mo, to your point, I think the Packers were tired of Aaron Rodgers. I think they knew mid-season they were going with Jordan Love. I think they were kind of tired of him when he didn't show up for OTAs and taking his time last year again, and because he did this last year, and he didn't show up to OTAs, and then he shows up to training camp like I'm here, and he doesn't have a good season, which is very odd for Rodgers, But I think for the Jets to go to the playoffs, he's going to have to commit to the offseason program. If he doesn't commit to the offseason program, it's going to be a long year for the Jets. It's just that, it's a tough division. But, Alan Lazard, oh my goodness. What's his name? He just was
Roger Moore.
Yes. They're receivers. So Garrett Wilson's probably, he's the number one. Then they got Elijah Moore. Then they got Alan Lazard. So their receiving core is good. Tyler Compton. And they got CJ Uzma. They're deep, but their offensive line is something that they're going to have to work on. And unfortunately, they don't have the draft capital. And because Rodgers took this long, they missed out at the beginning of free agency. If Rodgers told them when they first went out California, they would have been able to sign some offensive linemen. But once again, he took his time. So their offensive linemen are.
You know what? I don't even think they have a center on the depth chart.
You said what?
They don't have a center on the depth chart.
No, I'm looking at it right now. You're right. Damn.
So
they don't. Oh, that's gonna be a problem, man. But hey, look, I'm here for it because it's gonna be interesting. I want to see how he handles the New York media. I want to see if he's dedicated.
Oh, they're gonna keep.
Because if he was a championship as a Jet, he's already a legend. But to say they say next year he comes back, he goes hard, and they win the championship, that'll go a long way for his legacy.
So they keep Wilson as backup because Mike White already left.
Yeah. Yep. Zach Wilson's his backup.
What's the HBO show? Hard Knocks. Put him on Hard Knocks.
Oh, I would love
him
that.
And Wilson.
I would love that. The exact NFL. Put him on Hard Knocks. That's what I want to see. I want to see it. Or the in-season Hard Knocks. That's what I really want to see. Yeah.
And then, you know what else I hope? And they might not do it because they might not have a first-round pick. I said this last week. I hope the Packers trade Aaron Rodgers and then take a wide receiver.
You did say that. If they get the 13th pick and take a wide receiver, that's going to be funny.
I hope they do.
That's going to be funny.
That's right.
They said they really like Jordan Love. Yeah, you did say that last week. It's funny because they could. I think the Jets are going to have to give up that 13th pick. I think. I mean, maybe Green Bay takes some of the cap hit, and maybe they say we'll give us a first round next year. But just off what Matthew Stafford and Russell Wilson went for, Aaron Rodgers is going to have to go for a first, I think.
Definitely.
Right? Maybe. I'm not like crazy. Matthew Stafford went for a first.
You got to go for a first.
You got at least a first. Maybe a conditional, but he's got to go for a first. Now, they might say, give me a first next year. I don't know.
I would throw that in there too.
Give me your first.
I mean, at this point, Aaron Rodgers wants to go there. You don't want him there.
Yeah.
And you want Aaron Rodgers to come there. So if I'm Green Bay, I'm trying to get the best, definitely, obviously,
the best deal
possible. And I'm trying to bleed them out for picks.
Yeah. Yeah. Corey, what do you think? How many picks do you think they get?
I don't know. If you're
what's that?
If you're New York, I get that there's leverage on Green Bay side because they can just be like, hey, we're not going to send you anywhere unless we get what we want. And him making it known where he wants to go, I think, hurts that as well. But I'm not giving up a ton. That's it. You look at the Russell Wilson deal in Denver and how that blew up in their face. Like, why give up a ton of draft picks, draft capital? It wouldn't make sense.
You think they give up this year's first and maybe a conditional second?
I wouldn't give up a first round pick for Rodgers. Not at this point in his career. A first round pick 40. For a rental.
Yes, he's a 2-year, maybe 3-year rental. It's going to be interesting. I want to see it. Corey, that AFC is tough, man.
It is.
Very tough.
That is tough.
I'm not taking him without a first round pick. I mean, you're not going to get him without a first round pick. That's basically what I'm saying. If not, you know what? I can put either you're going to retire at this point, or
Green Bay could play hardball.
Either way, I'm starting Jordan Love.
They could play hardball. They could. I heard today that Green Bay can wait until the beginning of the season to decide what to do with his salary. That's a lot of leverage they have.
Hey, now let me ask y'all this:
a lot of leverage, man.
If the Jets get Rodgers, do we say the AFC East is the toughest division now in the AFC?
Man,
with the moves that have been made, you got Miami with their moves. I mean, yes, we got to see Tua stay healthy, but do we
maybe.
I
was in the West.
I like what Pittsburgh's doing. I like what Pittsburgh's doing. So
I think Pittsburgh gonna be right around 8-9 wins again until they develop their offensive line. I think the AFC West with Sean Payton and the moves they make, I think
offensive line, yeah, definitely.
You might be right though. Cleveland might be a little bit better, but I don't know if that's a wrong statement.
That's gonna be intriguing though to see Deshaun Watson for a full off season with that team. Because they got hot at the end of the season. They were playing good ball.
Yeah, this is gonna be good because he's in a tough division. But it depends what Lamar do. Does Lamar show up? Because he's not gonna get fined, because he's not under contract. So Lamar could really put a wrench in the Ravens' plan and show up week 1. Or he could sign it and go through training camp, and play. Because I think Kirk Cousins did that. I think Kirk Cousins bet on himself, went through the training camp, and then played good. And then, at that point, I don't know. Like if the Lamar goes through training camp, he signs it, goes through training camp, balls out again, and they go to the playoffs again, and they're 11-6. At that point, and maybe they win a playoff game, at that point, he's going to cost even more. It's just going to cost more, man. They should have did this 2 years ago. It's their fault. They should have did it before Deshaun Watson. They should have got it done. They should have got it done, man. He wouldn't have been asking for this. They should have got it done.
No, there's a lot of talk knocking Lamar for not having an agent. And I think that's a convenient excuse for
Ravens should have got
the owners colluding to try to make sure that guaranteed contracts don't become a thing.
Yep. It's like a non-spoken. Mike Florio is big on that. He is like, they are colluding. Yeah. He says it's hard to prove in court, but he was like, this is what he said, then we're going to get off the air. He said this one simple thing. He said, the owners don't even have to say anything, but for all those teams just to come out, and this has never happened before, to say that, the owners have been talking.
They didn't even need to, though. They're like,
there you go.
But there was no reason for those 4 organizations, and I believe all 4 were in on Deshaun Watson the year before.
Yes.
Still needing a quarterback to just voluntarily come out within an hour of the tag being applied saying, oh, we're not going to go after him. The only thing that does is undercut Lamar's leverage.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Why else do it?
Yeah.
Because you could just as easily, because I saw the talks like, oh, well, they just wanted to reassure their quarterback rooms that they weren't going to be replacing those guys. And they're like, oh, well, see, look at Matt Ryan in Atlanta, Atlanta went after Deshaun Watson and Ryan demanded a trade. And it's like, well, one, none of those teams have a quarterback that you really have to worry. Like, is Desmond Ridder going to demand a trade if Atlanta doesn't come out and say they're not going after Deshaun or Lamar Jackson? No. There's nobody else in that
Sam Howell's not either.
Exactly. And you can privately tell your quarterback room we're not pursuing him and say nothing publicly so that one of your opponents has to pay as much money as possible.
Yep.
Instead, they made public declarations to kneecap Lamar's leverage because it takes 4 teams off the board.
Yep. Totally agree with that, man. But I got a feeling Lamar's going to bet on himself like he always has been, and it's going to prove people wrong again. All right, guys, we're going to end